let's talk about the Schnell family. As you guys can see here, this is Jacob. Y'all excuse my shadow, it's out here in the sun. This is Miss Jenny. Her grave is sinking in a little bit. This is Albert. Albert was one of their sons. And this is Miss Lena. Now, if you guys notice, there is a space right here between that grave and Jacob's grave. That's where I believe that Bertha is buried. So, they are buried here just in amongst bigger stones. They by far do not have the most large stones here. As you guys can see, there are much larger stones. In fact, they just have these very simple little stones here. Okay, so in order to understand the story that you get told on the ghost tour, which is that Jacob actually owned, he was a German immigrant, he did good, he had a grocery, and he built himself a house down on Music Row. All of that's true. He did. He built that house. It was a gorgeous, ornate Italian-style house. And he thought he was moving on up in the world. Now, unfortunately, at about the time that Miss Lena here, because she would have been one of the ones to have a coming out party, came of age to have a coming out party, there was some very strong anti-German sentiment. And that carried over onto her coming out party. Miss Jenny here and Jacob, they set about to have a gorgeous coming out party. They felt like they had been good citizens of their communities and that this wouldn't in fact impact anything. And so they ordered food, they ordered an orchestra, they sent out beautiful invitations, and they got their home ready because they did live on Music Row, guys. And back then, Music Row would have been a very desirable and prominent part of town. So he was not poor by any means. Now, Jacob here, he did suffer from Bright's disease, and that is actually what did kill him. As you guys can see, he died in there we go, you can see, I think behind this, died in 1910 of Bright's disease. But at that time, at the coming out party for Miss Lena here, and it doesn't show her birth date, but for Miss Lena here, he was healthy enough to have done this. So at that time, he really wasn't struggling health-wise from his Bright's disease so much. He just really wanted to make a good life for his family. And so they set all this up. They sent out these beautiful invitations, and they got ready to present their 3 daughters to society. And you would think that it would go well, but unfortunately it didn't. No one of any kind of notable standing in the community showed up for this. And so Jacob, not one to be snubbed that way, said, fine, you all want to act a fool, that's just fine, you act a fool. I am going to let my beautiful Italianate mansion, it's going to fall into disrepair, and I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to let it become an eyesore because you all treated me so badly and my family so badly, it's going to absolutely become an eyesore, and I'm never going to do another repair. My family can continue to live here, but as for me, I am going back to my shop down on Jefferson Street, and I'm going to live out the rest of my days down there. And y'all, that's what he did. That's what Jacob did. He died in his shop of Bright's disease. Well, after his death, Miss Jenny here, Albert and Lena, and Miss Bertha, they all continued to live in that house. But true to their father, they did not make any repairs. The house began to leak. They just simply put out some buckets. The house had, heat went out. They just started using little space heaters. And they did this until Miss Jenny passed, and then she was laid to rest here. That left Lena and Bertha, who we believe is down there, completely alone in the home. Ultimately not a big deal, but older sister, she did get married. So Lena and Bertha are now left in this beautiful Italianate falling down mansion down on Music Row. Miss Lena here, she died of breast cancer at St. Thomas Hospital in 1950. And Bertha, when Lena died, was so heartbroken she refused to bury Lena for 10 days. And that really caught the attention of a lot of people. She just absolutely, positively refused to let her be buried. I think Bertha was so heartbroken, and, you know, Lena was Bertha's sister, probably best friend, confidant, and, you know, just somebody she could talk to. And now Bertha was going to be alone in this world. Bertha actually lived on in that mansion, letting things fall apart until 1976. Yes, you heard me right. 1976. And she lived in that Italianate mansion. It said that she was in fact a very astute businesswoman, that there was money there to be had. Her lawyers confirmed that, but she refused to do any kind of repairs. She held tight to what her father had said, and people that met them said that they were very nice ladies, but that obviously they had been very deeply wounded at some point in the past. The lawyers said that there was money, but they wouldn't spend the money. So that is the sad and tragic tale of the Schnell family. We all know that when you have a family who doesn't take care of a home, or when we have a home that falls into disrepair, we're all very well aware, right, that ghosts suddenly move in, even when there aren't. So when you take a ghost tour in downtown, if you go down Music Row, they're going to talk about the Capitol, I believe it's the Capitol Music Building, being haunted, and how machines will act funny and rooms stay cold, and one company had to move out and another company had to move in. Well, that sits on the spot of this family right here. They say that they're still there, haunting that area, but this is actually the sad and tragic truth of this family. Extra side note, Miss Bertha, when she lived there by herself, they said that the water actually went out, guys, and she actually used to carry in buckets of water. And she did this for a space of the last 2 years of her life. She lived with her little dog in one little room where she had a space heater. And it was a really sad life. She really kind of just cut everybody from society out of her life. And all of these people, as you guys can see around, that could have, and as big as Nashville was in the 70s, and as many people as were not, you know, were available, she just wouldn't have anything to do with them. So that's the tragic and yet very true story of the Schnell family. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, I'll talk to you soon.